Okay, welcome to our show Conversations. We're going to be doing part 2 of Mars in Cancer. Just want to piggyback from what I just posted. And the reason for this is because there is some very important information that I found that I thought it would be useful if you have this placement in your chart, if you know of anybody who has this placement in their chart, just so you can be aware spiritually. Okay, so I'm going to do my, basically, my disclaimer is I do get loud. I do curse, I'm expressive, and that's just the way I get down. So if you're not into that style, I highly recommend, okay? And then I also talk about sex, too. And then due to the fact that we're dealing with Mars, which is in conjunction with sex, we're definitely going to be talking about the sexual nature when it has to do with this sign and other signs to come, okay? So that's my disclaimer. So if you don't like it, just click, goodbye. And don't listen, okay? But yeah, so we're going to continue on with Mars in Cancer. Now, Mars in Cancer. Mars is masculine. So anytime you hear of Mars, just know that you're dealing with the masculine energy of that particular sign, okay? And depending on what sign it is how more masculine that person's going to come across, okay? So for instance, like I was saying in my other video, which makes sense because, if a man has a Mars in Cancer, okay, like I was saying before, he may have like some insecurities, something may have come up, due to the fact that he may not be as masculine as other men. Men may not see him as that masculine. So a lot of the masculinity, when it comes out in conjunction with a man having a Mars in a Cancer. Okay, because look, it's in a water sign. So anytime you have something in a water sign, it's more fluid, it's more feminine. Okay, versus a fiery sign or like a Leo or an Aries, or a Scorpio or a Capricorn, those are more rough and tough. You know what I'm saying? So, anything dealing with like water, if it's not as sharp as a Scorpio, then, it's going to be a little bit fluid. It's going to be a little bit more feminine. So when you're dealing with Mars, you're dealing with masculinity, but you're also dealing with sexuality, okay? And you're dealing with aggression and how you express your aggression. So let's say if you have a Mars in Pisces, you may not be as aggressive as somebody who has a Mars in Cancer, which is more on the dark side, like I was explaining. Like, the Cancer sign is very emotional. They go through a lot of emotions throughout the day. So this is what you're going to have in your Mars sign. Okay, so it's how you express your anger. So like I was saying in the other video, unfortunately Mars, this is not like a really good place for Mars to park, because it's already emotion here. It's already a lot of changes. It's already this depthness, this emotional entanglement and all of this, and then here comes Cancer coming through with an attitude. You know what I'm saying? And then it's all of this. And this is why a lot of people are not really into the Mars in Cancer, okay? Because it is a lot of aggression. It's a lot of arguments. It's a lot of fighting. And then anytime you deal with the sign Cancer, you're dealing with a domestic side. So wherever it is in your chart, it's going to be a lot of domestic stuff here. So with that being said, with the domestic stuff, you definitely want to be sure that, you're in a productive environment, because Cancer does deal with the environment. And then make sure you have everything, there's no, make sure you keep everything on the up and up, okay? If you have Mars in Cancer, because this kind of sign, for whatever reason, it does attract, like, major risk factors when it comes down to the home environment, okay? So it could be a lot of injuries and stuff that happen at the home, so you want to make sure that you keep the home as secure as you can if you have the sign. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, this is what really made me come back and do a part 2, because I thought this was majorly important. And it was funny how I was able to find this information, which you can find it too. Remember, everything that I talk about, you can easily go and find it. It's out there for you to see. This is no secret. But, I had heard that Mars in Cancer, if you have this placement in your chart, there's a good chance that it has to do with the intestinal area, the stomach area. So you may find that a lot of people with Mars in Cancer, may have got cut on their stomach, and cut in different various ways. So if you're a Mars and Cancer man, it wouldn't be surprising to hear that a Mars and Cancer man, unfortunately, got into a domestic situation or had a, physical altercation with someone, causing injury to the stomach, having to have surgery in the stomach area. And a female's aspect, again, dealing with the cutting of the stomach, you most likely, you're not going to be surprised to hear that a Mars and Cancer woman had like a C-section, due to child labor. Or, she had some type of, surgery with the stomach. Also, what I found very, very interesting was that you might even find out that a lot of Mars and Cancer women may elect to have surgery with the stomach. So they may want to have like a tummy tuck or, liposuction, anything to do with the stomach area. But what I found that was so interesting, that was incredibly important, was that if you have Mars in Cancer and a moon in Virgo, listen up. You might want to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100,000 times before you think about having any surgery that is not warranted when it comes down to doing the stomach area. Because think about it. Virgo has to do with intestinal area, right? The stomach area. So if that's the case, you have Mars in Cancer that's dealing with the cutting of the stomach. Virgo, again, intestinal area. So right there, those two energies are right there, are not really supportive of each other because there's already some issues with the stomach area. So if you got Mars in Cancer, Moon in Virgo, you might want to think, like I said, twice about going for surgeries that have anything to do with the stomach if it's not necessary, especially when it comes down to doing cosmetics. I know a lot of people are doing the cosmetic thing. A lot of women are cutting and slicing their bodies these days just to get a body that looks good, but it takes a very long time to heal. And I actually did some research on plastic surgery. I think I even have like a show on my channel that has something to do with plastic surgery. But I went a little bit more in depth with plastic surgery and women and what's really going on with their bodies, and what you see is not what you're going to get, and what you see is not how they feel. Because a lot of these women who have surgery in areas like the stomach, yeah, it may look flat and everything like that, but there's lots of women out there who are unsatisfied now because they have a misplaced, belly button that does not look normal. They have cutting around the stomach that is causing them a lot of pain and discomfort. They thought they were going to have a great sex life after the surgery, but come to find out they can't because they're so tender around the stomach area. And, all that blood and all that fluid that has rushed down to the vaginal area is also causing them issues after plastic surgery. So these are things that a lot of people are not talking about. I actually did the research on that. So if you have these placements, especially when it comes down to plastic surgery, dealing with the stomach area, you definitely want to think twice. And if you do decide to do the surgery, make sure you do your homework due diligently so, everything will turn out great. All right. So it's also seeing here that, guys, Mars in Cancer, just like a lot of other signs that I looked up, there's a lot of beautiful signs out there that, they have those aspects in their chart. And I mean, it makes them incredible lovers in the bedroom. Okay. Mars in Cancer happens to be one of those signs. It's coming up that they're very, very good in the bed. And the reason for that is because they want to have a breathtaking, soul replacing, soulmate type of sexual encounter with, people that they're in relationships with. And they can even do this with people that they've just met or just got into a relationship with. So they can do this on a long-term basis or a short-term basis, that they really want to get in depth with it when it comes down to sex. And I'm just discovering now that there's a lot of signs out there that they want that too, but there's also a lot of signs out there that's not about that life, okay? And they have other different things going on in that aspect. But since we're on the subject of sex, this is also the kind of sign that would be into rituals, okay, sexual rituals, and have life-changing sexual experiences that are life-changing. And it makes sense, again, when I mentioned in my other video that this is the sign that most likely they're going to be talking about making a baby during sex, or like before sex, or that's what's in their mind. And again, it's because of that life-changing sexual experience that they long for. Okay, so they have like that soulmate type of sexual, spiritual kind of sexual exchange with people when it comes down to the bed. So that could be very exciting. So these people are very tenacious and getting what they want, but they're not like a Mars and an Aries. Like a Mars and an Aries woman, if she wants somebody, she's gonna go after them. Period. Okay, she's gonna go full force. Not so much of a Mars and Cancer. Both the Mars and Cancer men and women, they're not the type to easily, approach you. They, act a little bit of shy. And they take their time when they're interested in somebody. And the reason for that is because, they get laser focused on whoever they want and they desire. And they check out that person. They observe that person to see if they can go in for the bite. Okay? So it may take them several days, several months, several weeks for them to communicate with somebody on that level where, it's now lust and love that they want to experience on a sexual level with the other person. But talking about lust and love, like I was mentioning in my moon and Pisces, I think it was the moon of Pisces for women, I was mentioning that, a lot of the women, unfortunately, they need to watch out in the name of love because they can easily become like a doormat, or, they can easily be taken advantage of by the opposite sex or by people in general. Same thing here is what I'm seeing here with Mars and Cancer. Definitely you want to make sure that you communicate, you get in contact with people who are on a level who will not take advantage of you because you do have this energy, okay? And when somebody has an energy like that, most of the time is dealing with comfort. So these are the type of people career-wise, okay? These are the type of people who would be good at being a counselor, a therapist, a designer, a doula, a nurse, a doctor, a teacher, a stay-at-home mom, the love of children, the love for children. So anything with children, anything within that arena of comfort, counseling, communication, trying to heal, again, that hard shell on the outside, soft on the inside, that, outer inner core of potting the plant, that nurture kind of feeling. So, these are definitely the kind of people who are going to have a comfortable environment. So lots of flowers, comfort zone, this is what that's about. So, yeah, if you have this sign, it also says here that, sometimes Mars and Cancer people, they can read a little bit too much into what other people are saying. So, like, they go a little bit too overboard. Like, it could be something simple, but they want to diagnose what it is. Because, again, they want to have that connection, that feeling with whatever it is that's being communicated. So, yeah, let's see what else it says. It says some other crazy stuff, and I'm like, nah, I can't put that out there on the airways. I can't do that. I can't even throw folk like that under the bus. But, this is kind of a difficult part that I'm about to talk about, but not as difficult as some things that I did find out about. But it is saying here that, even though they may be slow to move in regards to relationship and they do observe and check out their partners, they may go a little bit too fast. Sometimes when it comes down to the matter of sexuality and getting in situations with people, to the point where they can become excessively promiscuous. Okay. And they may do things like sexual rituals, routines and promiscuity things, a lot of sexual activity in order to maybe do an exchange for things that they want. Okay, so this is not all the time. Okay, again, you know, definitely if somebody has this may not even be an issue because of other aspects in the chart. Okay, so again, we're dealing with Mars in Cancer, so it's, you know, a lot of moods that's being shifted. You know, so again, you know, if you do have this, please don't take what I said personal, because again, it does show that, you know, Mars in Cancer does take their time in regards to communicating and getting sexually involved with people, because they want to make sure that things are safe. Remember, Cancer is dealing with protection. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. So the outer has to be protected. So just like the outer has to be protected, Mars in Cancer people will most likely go, you know, observe, check things out, look over it, you know, just to make sure that things are safe before they move in closer. Because this is the type of sign that doesn't want to risk being embarrassed or going through emotional pain because they moved in quickly. So like I was telling you before, like a Mars and Aries, if they want some, you know, whatever, they're going to go in and they don't care what the consequences are about. You know what I mean? They want what they want and that's it. They're going to go for it. They're forging straight ahead. Not so much as this sign, because they're going to, you know, shift around it, take their time, observe it, make sure that it is the right time, when it is time for them to go in for the, you know. All right. So, yeah, that was one of the main things that I want to talk about. It was that, you know, when I saw there was some stomach problems, and, you know, a person with the sign with Mars and Cancer, you know, definitely want to make sure that you are, you know, managing stress easy, because for some reason it has something to do with the Virgo, and it's showing that there's a lot of, you know, stomach problems, you know, that could come out on a physical level. You know, so a lot of problems with the stomach. All right. So definitely want to keep that under control. And, you know, if you have that kind of, if you have that kind of energy where, you know, you're about that, you know what I mean? You're ready to fight, kick ass, and do everything like that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with, you know what I'm saying? Looking for different ways that's going to minimize the stress level. Okay. Whether that be swimming, because it says Mars and Cancer, they do like swimming, dancing, you know, cooking, decorating, being domesticated at home, you know, anything that you find, you know, soothing for you. You definitely probably want to focus that more, because, you know, if you have those certain signs that become restless, they become easily irritated. If you're not involved in certain activities, then those negative traits can be activated, and then before you know it, you're acting a fool or doing something out of order, because you don't realize the energy that you have inside, and instead of letting it get out of control, you can utilize that energy and apply it towards things that's going to be effective, that's going to, you know, bring you up in life, and it's going to expand you in great ways. So this is why I love astrology. Like, I'm really loving this stuff right now, because I'm like, you know, why, you know, I'm like, is there a reason why these sciences are not being taught, you know, earlier in life? You know what I mean? Because I feel like if these sciences are taught early in life, you know, so many things could be like avoided. You know, I'm not saying life will be easier, because you're still going to go through your karma, your prepackaged karma that you have in your chart. You're still going to go through experiences, and you do want trials and errors sometime in your life so you can learn from mistakes so you won't do it again. And then, you know, if you do decide to do it again, you're thinking once, you're thinking twice about it. You're being more vigilant about, you know, the decisions that you make and the people that you came across in your life. Like when I talk about the narcissism, you know what I mean? Narcissism is a deep subject. It's horrible. It's spiritually debilitating. And it's a destroyer, but it's energy. And, you know, I figure that once you know about the energy, you can either let it destroy you, or you can, you know what, say, I'm going to take control of this. I see the good and the bad in this, and I can make a decision. Am I going to be unconscious and let the bad take over? Or am I going to be conscious and strategically, methodically, okay, grab the inner strength in all of these signs, whether it be a good or a bad placement? Take the energy, man, and apply it towards something that's great. And I'm telling you, once you realize what's inside, it's like that, once you realize, then you're like, for real? Now that is power within. Okay? So I think we're about done. I don't know if I have anything else to say. I don't see any other notes that I have here. I think basically it was saying that Mars in Cancer is associated with childbirth and labor, which we did talk about that. And it's only because they're looking for emotional security. So, if you're a Mars in Cancer woman and you're interested in a man, most likely a Mars in Cancer woman is going to go after a man who's physically strong, who's manly, who, shows like strong and traditional ways, who's masculine. But what I found funny about that is because when I mentioned in my Mars in Cancer for men, which I talked about that in a great length of time, it was funny how Mars in Cancer men, they may do the opposite. And they may go after someone who's manly. So isn't that weird? Like a Mars in Cancer woman would go after a manly man, but a Mars in Cancer man would probably go after like a more aggressive woman. And it makes sense because if you have Mars in Cancer, which is kind of delicate, she's going to go after the opposite, which is aggressiveness. Versus, like I was saying, with the Mars in Cancer man, who's a little bit more delicate. He's more connected to his mother and females in his family. And Cypher, making him delicate. So he's going to be attracted to something opposite, which is a woman who's more aggressive. So it's like, the opposite when you're dealing with this stuff. And I think I did mention before, like if you or have any kind of Mars sign in your chart, you're a female, most likely you'll be attracted to that particular energy. If you're a man and you have a moon sign in your chart, you may be attracted to that particular energy. But it just doesn't stop right there, because there's other aspects in the chart like Venus and Mars. Those are other signs that you will also be attracted to as well in your chart. And then the moon sign as well in a woman's chart, that may also be someone she's attracted to. So this stuff goes deep. It's not no cookie cutting situation, which I, hope that, bring out the pie, let's cut it down, let's, slice it up. It ain't that easy. So if I mention things that are not, on the up and up, don't take it personal, because it may not apply to you, because there is different aspects in the chart that you have to look at, and then you put it all together, and that makes that unique character, that unique personality that makes up you. All right, so I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and we will be doing another Mars and Sun sign soon. I don't know what it is, but we'll see what it is. Later.